Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Marcus.
And I'm Charlie, and this is the Mood Booster podcast.
In this episode, we're talking about how to regain control of your life, reflecting on your locus of control.
This is an incredibly interesting episode.
Yeah, it is.
We both learn a lot. It's quite a funny one as well, but we do actually learn a lot about whether we're actually in the driver's seat or not. One of the main things that we wanted to talk about and get you to learn was to test yourself whether you are actually in the driver's seat of your own life and see whereabouts you are sitting on that fence.
Yeah, very, very cool. The psychology nerd in me loves this one. We speak obviously about the locus of control. We unpack what the locus of control actually is, because it's a psychological concept that not everyone knows about, and sort of help you understand where you might sit in the spectrum when it comes to the locus of control, whether you're an internal or external or somewhere in the middle. Really cool. As you say, Charlie, it's about sort of understanding how you control your life or you don't control, and maybe if you wanted to do something about that, we obviously then give you the tools and tips to maybe recalibrate your locus of control.
To reshift your life to maybe something where you can control it more.
Yes.
A lovely episode. We
Yeah.
think that you'll learn a lot from this one. We did. We love it.
Loved it so much. So yeah, please let us know what you think and enjoy.
Let's go.
In this podcast, we share evidence-based tools, tips, and advice to help you improve your well-being, find joy in the everyday, and boost your mood.
We talk about life's highs, lows, and everything in between, with real stories and reflections from our own journeys as well.
Yeah, with pillars rooted in introspection, presence, and gratitude, this is the home of well-being and joy.
Cue the intro. Hello, everyone.
Buongiorno.
Welcome back to the Mood Booster podcast.
¿Cómo estás?
Welcome. It's good to have you again for another episode.
Episode
33.
33.
Welcome back to episode 33.
Yeah, 33.
Where we are
of the
talking.
Mood Booster podcast.
Yeah, there you go.
Welcome in.
This is the Mood Booster.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, we are talking everything today on how to regain control of your life. We are reflecting on your locus of control.
Super excited.
Bit of an interesting one, that title, locus of control.
Yeah, the psychologist in me is really nerding out today. Really excited that we're talking about this.
There
I know
you go.
you know about it, obviously, and I
little
know about it. But for anyone that doesn't know, the locus of control is a concept that we'll go into today. But basically, as an executive summary, it just talks all about your center of control and how you see your control or lack thereof over your life, and how we view what we're in control of, what we're not in control of, how we sort of navigate the world around us. Just really important in general. Control is linked to so much. Our view of our control is linked to helplessness, our self-esteem, our motivation, all of those things. If we feel like we can't control anything going on, we have lacking helpless we have
Almost there.
I'll go straight into it.
Yeah,
we feel
almost there.
helpless, we have lacking self-esteem and all of those things, and is hugely pivotal in our well-being. So we really want to just break down the locus of control today and talk about what it means, and help maybe you guys think about where you sit on the spectrum of your locus of control.
Help you take back control of your life. Get rid of that autonomy.
Very exciting.
Very exciting indeed. Get rid of that autonomy. It's actually quite interesting. I was watching a video. I was telling Nora, the lady who cuts her hair, about this thing. I saw a video online, and it was this girl saying she was practicing getting her brain out of autopilot mode. And she did it by staring at herself in the mirror for 5 minutes. Apparently you start crying after like 3 or 4 minutes.
I saw that as well.
I was baffled by that. It was terrifying.
Crazy.
She just started crying after like 4 minutes.
And did she feel more control over her life?
Apparently so. It takes your brain out of the autopilot mode.
Right.
Obviously, I like to go into the science of it.
Man.
What that actually looks like.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's loco.
That's loco.
Yeah,
it's locus.
Locus.
Very nice.
But yes, at the end of this episode, you'll understand more about what the locus of control is.
Yep.
And maybe more about yourself and what, like I say, where you sit on your locus of control or the spectrum of the locus of control. And therefore, maybe how you might reframe certain situations or your own sort of inner workings to maybe put more control to yourself and put yourself in the driver's seat. And sometimes actually the opposite of maybe letting go and not trying to control everything. And that's all of those things that we'll unpack today, very
It's a
excitingly.
weird one. It's not like one or the other, is it? It's finding that balance that works best.
All about balance.
It's all
It is all
about balance.
Yeah.
Balance.
As with we discussed last week,
Yep.
we feel like, oh well, I've got to be one, and I've got to label myself as one. Well, actually, this is a spectrum of in terms of personality, and so we're not just one or the other. Anyway, we're getting carried away. We'll break down what one or the other actually looks like.
In
But
a little
firstly,
Firstly,
Charlie,
yes.
how was your week?
Thanks for asking me. Thanks for asking me. My week was lovely. Thank you very much. Went back home to see my family over the weekend,
Nice.
which was lovely. I've actually not been back in weeks, or maybe even months now, actually.
Wow.
Friday, went back to see my mum. I got her it was her birthday back in September, back when we were in the Dolomites. And as her birthday present, I got her a psychic reading
Nice.
event. Yes. So her mum passed recently, my nan back in the summertime. And my mum's always been quite spiritual. My nan was especially quite spiritual. So I thought, it's a bit odd. Usually you just do like an afternoon tea or like, a present. But I thought, let's push the boat out here. Let's be a bit odd. So I bought her a psychic reading session.
Nice.
And funnily enough, there's also a pub near our house, which
That is funny.
so what's going on currently in my mind is having to really try and process you not being here. Here we go.
Sorry, I was
Before I was rudely
It was
interrupted.
really funny. You said it was funny. So I was trying to support you.
You're such a dweeb, mate. Can't let me have anything, can you? Jesus
Sorry,
Lord.
pray do tell. Carry on.
Pray do tell.
As
There
you
we
were.
go. Thank you. All right. Before I was really interrupted, there's a pub near my house, and once every like 2 months they offer a psychic reading as well. My mum's always seen it, never been. Always said, "Oh, we should try that." Never been. And I thought, let's try and do this on the Friday night. Let's go to the psychic reading. So it ends up on Friday. My mum has 2 back-to-back psychic readings after never having one in her whole life. I'm going to not go into the specifics. However, the details uncovered during the psychic reading, I do not care how realistic, how pessimistic, how spiritual you are. There is no doubt in my mind that my mum was connecting to a higher spirit. There was so many little bits of information that were said in an instance from this psychic medium. Her job was basically just to listen to what these spirits are saying and pass it on to my mum. So many things of what my mum was hearing were true, and you could not have guessed it, researched it, looked it up, even if there were mics planted in that place before we went in. The lady had done research on her. There's no way you could have found that information out anywhere. It's stuff that my mum hadn't told anyone. Stuff between her and her own mum that was being said.
It's now a bad time to tell you she was DMing me on Instagram before getting all the goss.
Oh God, was that actually it?
Yeah.
You were messaging as the psychic.
I was feeding her all the info. Yeah.
That was you.
So,
What are you doing that for?
It's a bit awkward to tell you, but I don't like lying, so I thought it best come clean.
Thanks for not lying. I put all my life savings on it being real.
Really?
Yeah,
She told you to put a bet on?
all of them. £6.
On black?
Yeah.
Golly.
You
It's red.
You told her it all. Oh God, you told her it all. You told her it all.
I did.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
Hate to say it.
Can you tell my mum that it's just not real?
I can't. Sorry.
Okay, thanks.
Can't let her down like that.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
anyway.
but in all seriousness,
Yes, before I was railroaded again. In all seriousness, it was an unbelievable event. If you've not done it before, give it a go. Find a psychic medium near you and try and be open-minded. And like even my brother's so close-minded about it. Felix, he was like, I'm not gonna listen. He doesn't believe any of it, which is completely fair as well. But yeah, that was an eye-opening evening.
loco. Crazy.
Really, really crazy. And then yeah, Saturday spent with my granddad and my mum, and Sunday was Felix's birthday. HBD Felix, which was lovely. So just spent that with him, went for a walk and went to the pub, which was a lovely, very, very wholesome weekend actually.
Very, very nice.
Back home, which
Very,
was
very nice.
fantastic. So that's my weekend.
Lovely job.
How about you? How was your week?
My weekend. What did I get up to? I was also at home, so I was with all of the family. Everyone was there. Brothers, grandchildren, partners, and yeah, we were all just there together having a lovely time. I celebrated my brother's birthday, and we got
Birthday, George.
HBD George.
HG George.
We had sleepover with the grandkids and all like did like a little camp out in the sitting room, and yeah, we're chilling like that
Very
in the
nice.
morning after. Sorry, what's funny?
Nothing's funny.
What's the joke?
No, nothing's funny, mate.
What are you smirking at?
Nothing's funny.
Do say.
No.
Go on.
We said your whole family was there.
What's wrong with that?
Your dad's not there. We have to cut that out. I can't say it.
We're not cutting that out.
No, we have to cut that out.
Yeah, so
I'm gonna cut that out.
here's an inner look of Charlie mocking the fact that my dad is no longer with us.
I'm not mocking it.
It's okay. You don't have to cut it out. This is
We're
a real
gonna
look.
cut that
It's a
out.
real look into our
This is
friendship.
all being cut.
We don't have to.
This is all being cut.
Editor, we're not cutting this.
I'm the editor. What do you mean?
You're the editor.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're cutting this.
I'm the editor.
We're gonna cut this bit here.
My whole family. My dad was there in spirit.
He was.
He was.
Good on you.
Yeah,
He was there in spirit.
Good on him. Yeah, he was there in spirit.
Oh, yeah.
So my whole family were there.
Good.
And it was a lovely
Amazing.
occasion to celebrate my brother's birthday. The dogs were on great form. Lovely to see the cat. The chickens were laying their eggs. Just
Were they?
well, one of them, Margaret Hatcher.
You been
was.
having the eggs?
I haven't myself. Not because I didn't want them. I just didn't. I didn't eat breakfast both days
Oh God.
with the family.
Everything all
I
right?
just had my own thing.
That's antisocial.
Yeah, well, I went out running, so yeah.
There we go.
So yeah, my whole family were there, including my deceased father.
Very nice.
So yeah, we jibe and joke about our dads. That's a knee slapper.
What fun we have.
What fun we have, indeed. So yeah, it was a lovely weekend, and
Yes.
yeah, came back and I've just been looking forward to today. Really, actually,
Yes,
gonna
I have
be-
as well.
going to be a fun episode.
A nice conversation. I wonder how much we're going to be able to control this conversation.
Well, that's the thing. Do you want to control it?
Maybe.
Talking of
Speaking of,
segue, segues for days.
segue. Locus of control.
Locus of control.
Yes.
Before we get into it,
Oh,
I've got a question for you and for you.
okay.
2 questions.
Okay.
Would you rather this or that?
Little test for the listener.
Okay. So I'm going to give you 2 questions, 2 phrases, sorry,
You talking to me, or all of us?
to you and to you, to the listener and to you,
To
Charlie.
the listener. Okay.
I'm going to give you 2 phrases, 2 sets of 2 phrases.
Yep.
You just simply need to tell me which one aligns with you more. Okay?
Okay.
Number 1. No matter how hard you try, some people just don't like you. Or, would you agree more with, people who can't get others to like them don't understand how to get along with others. So I'll read that again. Number 1, do you agree with, no matter how hard you try, some people just don't like you? Or number 2, people who can't get others to like them don't understand how to get along with others.
I personally agree with the second one more. Now looking back on it, I know I said yesterday I was being a bit difficult, but no, the second one's a lot more.
Okay.
I think people who don't like me, that's their problem.
That wasn't what the phrase says.
Same thing. Same thing.
Okay.
That's on them.
That's your external locus
Wait,
of control. So people who can't get others to like them just don't understand how to get along with others.
So
let me put it simply for you.
what the hell?
I can't get people to like me.
Yeah.
That is because I don't understand how to get along with others.
I don't understand how to get along with others. Nah, that makes no sense.
Okay.
Well, that's not what I said at all.
It's okay. We can break it
Read out
down.
the first statement again.
So no matter how hard you try, some people just don't like you.
Yes,
Got that one?
I got that one.
Okay. The next one is people who can't get others to like them. So imagine it's you. You can't get other people to like you. That is because you don't yet know how to get along with people.
First statement. First statement.
So no,
That's their problem.
no matter how hard you try, some people just don't like you. Yeah?
I mean, I don't agree with either. Both are bogus
You have
statements.
to choose one.
No matter how hard I try, some people just don't like me.
Mm-hmm.
Or the second one is,
You can't get along with others because you don't yet understand how to get along with people.
oh, which one do I agree with?
Crazy. I didn't expect this feature to take so long. It's okay.
You're being a little jibey little boy today, aren't you?
We pitch to the level we're talking to.
God. I'd say
We're still thinking.
I actually don't agree with either.
Okay.
I'd say probably the second one.
Okay, the second one.
Yeah.
Interesting. Is it because you're trying to think which one's which?
No, it's just, I mean, to be honest, I don't really agree. If someone doesn't like me, they can go stuff
Okay,
themselves.
well, I'm sure you as the listener have had ample time to decide which one you agree with. I won't go into the second statement. I feel like one's enough for now.
Cool.
Do you want me to do the second one?
What do you mean?
There's another set of questions.
Well, tell us what it means.
No, I will afterwards.
Okay.
So, do you want me to do the second
Yeah,
set?
go for it.
Okay, so genes, our genetics, play a major role in determining our personality. That's number one. Do you agree with that? Or do you more agree with the second statement, which is it's one's experience in life which determines what they're like?
Second one. 100%. See, that's an easy one to understand. That's an easy one to understand.
We're there. We've warmed up. We got it. Okay, so the second one.
Yes, 100%
Okay.
the second one then.
Let me know what you think, listener.
How are they going to let you know?
In the comments.
Or just say it out loud into the universe and Marcus will be able to realise.
Say it out loud, and we can work on that. But look, we're talking about control today, and like I said, how you feel like or you don't feel like you have control over your life and the things that are going on in your life. We can look at that from the locus of control. The locus of control is a personality theory in psychology. Very, very cool theory. Was introduced by.
You're going to tell us the answers?
Afterwards.
Oh, what?
Once we learn all about it.
Nah, say first what it is.
Absolutely not.
Come on.
You can wait. You can.
The
practice
listeners are going to
some
click
patience.
off and listen to another
I
podcast.
need to know. You can wait.
They're going to listen to another podcast
Of
now.
course they're not. They're about to learn a really interesting theory.
Okay.
So Rotter
Jesus. Yep.
in 1966.
Yep.
Great year. Do you know why?
My mum was born then.
Oh,
And England won the World Cup.
Great.
Yep.
HBD trace. The one and only time the men's England team have won the World Cup. Rip.
You want to speak about this locus of control?
Relax, we're having a good time. The locus of control, introduced by Rotter in 1966, is. Are you okay?
Oh, please read.
Okay. Refers to the degree to which people believe they have control over the outcomes or events in their life. Now, there's two sides to the locus of control. So we all have a locus of control. Locus is Latin for location. So the term locus of control basically translates to the location of control. Our view of our location of control. Do we believe that we control our life internally, or do we believe that we control our lives, or sorry, that our life is controlled externally, and the control in terms of location is external to us? So again, locus of control, location of control. As I've just said, there are two sides to the locus of control. There is internal or external. So you align more with either having an internal locus of control or an external locus of control. Now, as it says on the tin, it might seem obvious, it might not. Internal locus of control is more one person believing that they control everything themselves. Everything that happens in their life is a product of their doing, their hard work, their skill, and their hustle, their grind, all of those things. Someone with an external locus of control, like I say, believes the control is external to them, and things that happen in their lives are happening to them, and as a product of external factors, they are just navigating something that's already controlled, they have no control over, and they are, for lack of a better word, a victim to or a product of an external world happening to them. Making sense?
Yes, it is.
Thoughts or reflections so far?
I'm buzzing to find out what I got from the test.
Interesting.
100%. That is interesting, though.
The question I asked you was from Rotter's 29-item test. Okay. So there is an inventory, a 29. It's called the I-E inventory, the IE inventory, I being internal, E being external. And it gives someone 29 would you rather statements like I just posed, the two I posed to you all. And you just have to say which one more aligns with you, and then you're scored, and basically you're scored from 0 to 29. And basically, 0 and 29 being each end of the spectrum of having an internal or an external locus of control. It's important to say here and throughout our discussion today, we like to label ourselves and we like to be binary with things. And this is similar to when we talk about locus of control. People think in a binary sense, and they're like, oh, well, if they know about it, they're like, oh, well, I have an external locus of control, so this, and this, I can't. This isn't necessarily a binary thing. This is a spectrum. So we can have elements within our personality that are more leaning towards an internal locus of control. And there can be other situations in our lives where actually we are more leaning to an external locus of control. And we believe that, let's say in work, I have less control over what happens there. But in my relationships, I have more of an internal locus of control, and it's a lot of my own doing, for example. That's just one example, might not be the case. So that's how you measure the locus of control, as this scale. But really, the scale is more just for context. It's interesting. So back to the items, I'll read them again.
Thank God. Here we go. I'm looking forward to this now.
So, number 1, no matter how hard I try, some people just don't like me.
Yep.
Or, I don't get along with others because I don't yet understand how to do so. Can you see which one aligns with which? So no matter how hard you try, some people just don't like you, would be leaning towards an external locus of control.
Yes.
Because it's saying, no matter how hard I try, people won't like me. It's out of my control, because even if I try the hardest in the world, people just won't like me.
Yep.
That's externalizing and putting everything to an external force, an external being, external control. Therefore, I could try the most or the least and it won't change anything.
Cool.
Versus, I don't get along with people, and importantly, because I don't yet understand how to do so.
It's the yet part.
So it's the I don't understand, which leans towards an internal potential growth mindset of I don't understand. Yes, I don't understand yet, but this is something that might change because it's down to my understanding.
Cool.
And understanding is an internal thing, as opposed to external things, other people's opinions of me, for example.
Okay.
You had mixed answers. Sometimes you were saying, well, no matter what, if they don't like me, that's on them. But sometimes you were then towards the other answer. Maybe that came more down to a sort of a misunderstanding of what the phrases were actually saying.
I do think I agree partly with both. And probably that's really being difficult, but
no, not
as I know, the test is seeing whether you've got an internal or an external. So to summarize, so if you chose the first answer there, you've got far more external locus of control.
Yes.
And if you chose the latter on that first question, you have a far more internal locus of control.
Indeed.
Believing that you can control things more in your life, or that you believe you're more in the driver's seat.
Yes.
Whereas if you answered the first one, you believe that you're less in the driver's seat.
Yeah. And to the second set of phrases, genes play a major role in determining one's personality, or it's one's experiences in life which determine what they're like. Now, that might seem obvious, but I'll just say the first one is an external locus of control. It's saying genes. Genes are things that you can't really change and you don't have any control over as a normal person.
You're born with it.
You're born with it. That is an external locus of control. That's out of my own control. That's a determining factor external to me. Versus it's my experiences in my life that determine what I'm like. That's more an internal. It's my own experiences that can change what I'm like. Less deterministic in that sense.
Interesting.
Now, I've used the word growth and deterministic in a couple instances now.
Yes.
Probably good to just break that down as well, because they are
fixed mindset.
They are heavily akin to the locus of control. In a development from the locus of control, Seligman sort of developed this further, a theorist, and spoke about learned helplessness. So learned helplessness is when someone, for whatever reason, it can be lots of different sort of not succeeding, being put down, just a failure after failure, or trauma after trauma in childhood, just feeling like basically, and it happens in lots of cases, and in clinical cases, and in things like, unfortunately, intimate partner violence and all of these things, just a cycle of, for example, adversities, or cycle of abuse, or cycle of failure, all of these things. A very common phenomenon is learned helplessness, where we feel completely out of control, and we stop trying. We lose hope, and we become helpless, and we stop trying. And that is heavily akin to an external locus of control. The learned helplessness being a sense of, I can't do anything about this. This isn't in my control. All of these things are happening to me. Therefore, I start to become helpless, and I just have a learned helplessness, and therefore I'm deterministic about it, and I don't try or do anything to change the situation. Versus I don't want to. We'll come back to that as well because this is not at all sort of blaming or putting too much responsibility or sort of what's the word, viewing that external locus of control or someone with that external locus of control and learned helplessness to be sort of weak or not as good as. But we'll come back to that. The growth mindset is more akin to or linked to the internal locus of control. You have a growth mindset being seeing things as opportunities, as you might not be able to do something now, but you can because you can grow and you can become better, and things are opportunities for development and constant growth and always trying harder to be better and to do more. That in by definition is more akin to an internal locus of control where I can control it. So, for example, another example talking about like sports abilities, for example, I used to have an extreme external locus of control when it came to my sporting abilities. I used to just be like, my brothers are really good at sports. I just wasn't born with the genes to be good at sports. I'm rubbish at them. I'll never be good at them. But I gave up before I even started trying, really. I do think it's not binary. I think I might have not been born with like the predisposition to immediately be good, but that's not to say I can't grow and be better. So I now have moved towards a more growth mindset after having sort of worked on that internally myself to be like, yeah, I'm not immediately amazing at sports or whatever it might be, let's say surfing for an example, but I'm going to push and I'm going to try because with work and with growth, I can be good at those things. I just need to try and not just put it on external factors, basically.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think growing up in school, I also had quite an external locus of control. I wasn't great at school. I was always in the bottom set for a lot of things. Very dyslexic, and I think that showed through my work. Also, my work ethic in school wasn't great. I didn't really enjoy a lot of the subjects I was doing, so I'd always finish fairly low in the class, get pretty low marks on an exam, etc. And I think I sort of growing up in school, which relayed on to like life. I think I've begun to have a bit more of an external locus of control, sort of just accepting, whether it's through the learned helplessness that you're saying, through repetitive learning, learned that, oh, I'm not going to be good at that thing because I wasn't back at school. Or that's to be expected. It happened my whole childhood. That's just something that happens to me. It's my own unique experience. It's just what's written for my path as I wasn't good at it.
Yeah.
I think leaving school and going traveling and experiencing different things allowed me to have or grow into my far more internal locus of control, which I think it's sort of given me a bit of a mindset just to, as I've left school and grown up, I've been able to realize a little bit more of, okay, I do have control here. If I want to change something, I actually do have the power to. It takes work and effort, but I can change the outcome should I want to. But I think growing up just continually, like what you were saying with sports there, I think just being in the bottom set for quite a lot of things and not really gelling with the school system ever. I think I'd learned that when I was younger. I felt a bit helpless. And I think that's the external locus of control that I had when I was younger.
Do you think that also links to, I'll explain what this is, but just, yeah, do you think that links to a self-fulfilling prophecy?
Do I think it links to a self-fulfilling prophecy in the way that...
So labeling and then a self-fulfilling prophecy. I'll explain first, perhaps, and then
yes,
you can answer.
if you can.
So, for example, in an education system, there's when we talk about labeling and the self-fulfilling prophecy, there are two phenomena that go hand in hand. So, someone can be labeled, whether it's like an overt sort of obvious label of you're a bad child and a teacher saying that to you, or even things that can't necessarily be helped or are just a product of the system that we're in. For example, being labeled as in a bottom set of maths, for example, you then see yourself in a certain way because whether you like it or not, being in the bottom set comes with a label of being in the bottom set. You then have a self-fulfilling prophecy as a product of that label because you're labeled as something, so then you start to see yourself as that label and you then start to behave in a way that perpetuates that label, and it's like a vicious cycle. And that is the self-fulfilling prophecy, that you're then behaving in a way that fulfills that label and fulfills that prophecy. So
100%.
for example, a self-fulfilling prophecy is quite akin to having an external locus of control, because it's like, well, everyone sees me as this, I can't do anything about that, so I may as well just continue doing that because this is how everyone sees me anyway.
Interesting. I think yes. I think it very much sort of led me to have a self-fulfilling prophecy, but not in the way that you might expect. I think my mum, when I was growing up, was really intentional with making sure to feed me very positive sort of affirmations about myself, what I was doing. I think she could see that throughout school I wasn't doing the best. I was in the bottom sets. I was always quiet. I was misbehaving when I was younger. I think she saw that, but I remember vividly just all the time throughout my childhood, she would always say, "That's fine. School's not for everyone. You'll do amazing afterwards. You're meant for great things." She'd always say this and say this and say this, and I think I sort of tied one to the other as a sort of identity or a label, realizing, okay, I'm going to do poorly in this math exam. I'm going to do badly in this, test, for instance, but it's because I'm meant for bigger things, or I'm meant for greater things.
Okay.
I think both hand in hand from what you're saying with the self-fulfilling prophecy,
Yeah.
a bit of an external locus of control, growing up being told these things, I believe they were true.
It's really interesting.
I never did very well at tests, even throughout university when I had an exam, which was rarely because of COVID, which was quite lucky. I didn't do well on it. I'd always still, that's the worst part of my degree, which, my dissertation, I did fantastically and I loved it, but the exams, I just wouldn't do well. But I don't think that led me to have a sort of negative self-fulfilling prophecy, but I'd attribute that part to my mum.
Okay.
But I completely agree that it feeds heavily into the external locus of control, because I just would believe I've never done well in this when I was younger.
Yeah.
This is just part of my
I'm not
brain.
supposed to be,
It's just the way I'm wired.
Yeah.
But I do see how damaging and harmful that can be, especially to a younger person as well. If you label yourself as that,
For sure.
100%.
It's extremely it's the determinism of it all, which is an external locus of control. Being deterministic is like, this is already determined, it's meant to be this way, and therefore I'm not going to try or do anything to sort of challenge that or grow from that. It's the opposite of the growth mindset, which I don't want to get into today, but school setting systems can do quite a bit for.
Yeah.
And individual teachers, for sure. I
100%.
thrived when I had teachers in school that sort of showed you your potential and empowered you through your potential. And that's why myself, as someone who's in education now and is a lecturer, my main pedagogic way of my main philosophy of teaching,
Big words.
my main philosophy
Pedagogic is a cool word.
my main philosophy of teaching is to empower my students.
Yeah.
And that leads to all of this. I can just give them information that they can regurgitate, or say, here's your data, go and analyze it. But what are they getting from that? They're not learning. They're not being empowered to take autonomy and control of their own research career, their own path. They're just doing something that someone else is telling them to, and that therefore gives them less control and less agency and less power in that situation. I will always want to empower my students, and I think because it's so important to feel empowered in what you're doing and to feel like you have control. There's another thing, I'm going off on another tangent, but when I worked in a psychiatric hospital, I was sort of shadowing a psychiatrist there. The model that they used to deliver their treatments in the hospital to acutely unwell psychiatric patients was the recovery model, which has 4 elements to it. So it has hope, control, responsibility, and opportunity. And therefore, control is a huge thing. In helping someone recover from, let's say, a personality disorder or any other mental health disorder, a huge thing that was used at this hospital was working with someone to foster control in them, as well as hope, which comes back to the learned helplessness. They're all interlinked, but giving them that hope that they're going to get better and they're going to recover, but also giving them the control in themselves to do so. And there's obviously ways and mechanisms that you do that with a patient in a hospital, but like, giving control is so important for everyone in their life, and feeling like you have control over your life is super important, and links to all the research we have. I mean, it's widely known in research, but several studies, people with higher internal locus of control, we'll put these references obviously as always in the description, but people with high locus of control report better health behaviors, lower stress, and stronger coping strategies. They're more likely to adhere to treatment plans, for example. They're more likely to be able to cope with uncertain situations because they feel like they can control that and they can do something about that. You right?
Yeah. No, this is all fascinating stuff. Yeah, so
Students,
fascinating.
students and professionals with an internal locus of control. So, in terms of an education setting, which again is what I was talking about, students with an internal locus of control perform better academically and in their careers because they see effort as linked to results. So, them trying harder is more likely to get results, as opposed to just being like, I'm not gonna, whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. So I can just put mid effort in or whatever. Um, and yeah, external locus of control being the opposite has in research been linked with higher anxiety, higher depression, and higher stress scores in numerous studies over the decades. Yeah. So it is broadly seen that if you're completely on the other side and completely have an external locus of control and see the world to be controlling you, you do again, like I mentioned earlier, it is somewhat seen to be you're a victim, or you see yourself to be a victim of the world and things happening to you. And therefore, when you're in situations, you always find yourself in those situations that are upsetting to you. You always find yourself being a literal, victim in friendship groups or whatever, being left out or whatever, to have a sort of one example of many.
So is the first step to almost becoming aware of how much control you think you have of your life?
For sure.
Is that the first step? So let's say I have a toxic friendship or a toxic relationship or a job that I don't like,
Yeah.
but I have these beliefs and these stories that I was always meant to be in this role. It was the way the universe pushed me into this role. All these sorts of stories that you tell yourself. The first step is to probably, I imagine, recognize the stories that you're saying, recognize the patterns, and then identify whether you actually have an external locus of control.
Yeah.
And then when you do, if you want to, you can put yourself back in the driver's seat, right?
Yeah, it's kind of ironic as well because, like, to see that you kind of need to have some elements of an internal locus of control already if you're thinking about like this personality paradigm, because if you completely align with an external locus of control, then it's like,
You wouldn't even see that.
yeah, it's a bit of a spiral.
Well,
But sorry, carry on.
no, it's fine. I imagine just writing down what stories you're saying in your own head, whether like, for instance, say you fully believe it, it could still be quite useful to identify it. Is write down, for instance, say you love your job and you believe that you're meant to do it, just write that down. I was always meant to do my job, for instance. Or, for instance, you can say, I chose my job because it came up in the news or whatever it is. There are certain things that you can write down just from what you observe, and that can then highlight
Yeah.
what your locus of control. I imagine highlighting is the first step.
Well, yeah, there is part of it highlighting it and being aware of it.
Yep.
But also being aware for sure, but also knowing potentially where it comes from as well. Because one challenge I have with personality psychology, because it's a whole field of research and theory in itself, is I'm trying not to just let the irony sit. And we don't, but it is quite deterministic, or it can be quite deterministic in a sense, in general speaking.
What is, sorry?
Personality psychology? So when people are given types in
Don't get
terms
me
of,
started on it.
it kind of is. When people are given types of their personality, like, let's say, we're not going into this today, but like the attachment theory, for example, you're this type of attachment, that can be quite deterministic, or you're extroverted, you have an extroversion, whatever. It can be quite sort of deterministic in
It's
that way.
labeling, isn't it?
What I try and challenge is actually that it doesn't need to be.
Yeah.
And one way of doing that is this theory, the locus of control, is rooted in social learning theory, behaviorist psychology. And what I mean by that is it is learned through reinforcement.
So your behaviors.
If we see that and it can be sort of shaped by that. So if we put in effort and we see reward for that effort, we are then reinforced to believe, or to even subliminally believe, that our effort equals reward, and therefore it is our doing.
Okay.
Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of research into like trauma backgrounds and people growing up in like traumatic childhoods or adverse childhood experiences that sort of completely warp that sense of view, and like you understandably just don't feel like you're in control of anything, which is completely fair enough. But to just know in the first place that it is something that can sort of be shifted, and it can be learnt to be shifted through reinforcement, and you trying and you putting in effort in certain ways and seeing the reward for that reinforcement.
Okay.
It is something that, from a behaviorist or a learning perspective, can sort of grow or be dynamic in that way, change in that way.
So the whole idea with the locus of control, of the control, center is that we learn it from social learning theories, that it's through our experiences, is so it's able to change, because if we learn something, then we adopt it, or we can set certain behaviors to learn
That,
different ways of control. Whereas you were saying with the with things like attachment theory, or these labels that we put on ourselves, that sort of stuff is far more external in terms of the locus of control, saying you have less control over it.
not, I don't want to speak in a binary way like that. Like some in the attachment theory can also be attributed to internal factors, and you can work on your attachment style and
Yeah,
all
I'm
those
trying to make a
things.
bit more of a
But
for myself.
yeah, just speaking explicitly to the locus of control. Sometimes when we talk about personalities, people speak about traits, and traits are things that you sort of are very static and you can't necessarily change so much. Whereas I try to see it more from a lens of it's more of a state, and you can change that. A state being something that is dynamic and can change. So speaking like the other, yeah, speaking in this instance to the locus of control, I just raised that to say we should see this as something that we can change and we do have control over, and we can learn through things like reinforcement to shift our view of where our control comes from, or the location of our control.
Yeah.
Yeah. I, for my speaking, reflecting, obviously I've spoken a lot about theory, but speaking for
Yes.
myself,
Yes.
I am someone who, like I say, I think I've just observed. I think I obviously learnt about this in school. Well, I say obviously in A level psychology, so I became aware of it. But it's also something that I've just observed. I think because I see myself as someone who, I don't want to say by default or by nature, because then that's obviously deterministic. But like my sort of knee jerk reaction is to kind of be like externalize things. Um, and I think as a result, that's led to so many things in my life that are like lack of confidence, lack of self-esteem. Like, for example, I was telling Charlie yesterday, and I'll say again, when I used to get distinctions throughout my masters and stuff, and even when I got like my PhD offer, each time in my masters distinctions, I would genuinely, I'm not just saying this to be like modest or whatever, I would think, God, this university's so lenient with their marking. As opposed to looking back, reading those essays, they're friggin' amazing essays. Or when I got my PhD offer, I'd be like, God, they must have had a bad round of no one really applying, and I'm the best of a bad bunch or something. I genuinely had those thoughts, which translates to an external locus of control, because it's me attributing that success to external things as opposed to my own hard work and doing.
Yeah.
Now, on the flip side, when things go badly, I'm typically someone who like massively blames myself.
Crikey.
And I'm like, this is, I think like in friendships, for example, I'm always just beating myself up. I'm always thinking like how I'm sort of annoying or whatever. Or in work situations, I'm just constantly, even if like, I don't know, we're in a meeting and someone raises something that's not been done. It's not even in my remit to do the thing that's not been done. But I'm there being like, oh, God, am I lazy for not having like helped with that or offered to help with that? And that comes down to like, again, it's like an interlink of the confidence and all of those things that is just like, yeah. And I think this is a good time to also talk about why we shouldn't completely villainize having an external locus of control.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, and research shows, which I can speak to, sometimes if you have so much of an internal locus of control, that can also be detrimental to your mental health
100%.
and your health in general. When you try and control everything too much, to too much of an extreme, and don't let go of that control, when sometimes you physically or you just actually can't control those things, you then end up having more stress and more adverse reactions to situations. Yeah, in a study looking at coping in different age groups, an internal locus of control in younger individuals was associated with hostile reactions and self-blame, leading to poorer mental health.
Wow.
And that self-blame is huge in people with an internal locus of control. So we put internal locus of control on this pedestal of like, oh, you should be in control of your life. You should
be in the driver's seat.
You should have a growth mindset.
Yeah.
But actually, it can be hugely detrimental in the other way of like burnout and people doing too much because they're just like, let me.
Well, because it goes against the whole idea, and this is far more spiritual than it is psychological, but of surrender to the universe and surrender to your path.
Yeah.
It's far more external, but it's if we can learn to let go and allow what life is to flow, we surrender to what's happening. We shift our mindset to a far more external locus of control. I truly believe that will let go of a lot of sort of internal battles that we're facing, which come from that internal locus of control. So say, something's happening and it's not going right, and you really try and battle with it. You're trying to push open that door, that metaphorical door, and it's just not working, but you're adamant to make it work. You'll be going through a bit of a battle in your own head, which is the internal locus of control forcing something to happen. Whereas, as you just said, on the flip side, if you have a far more external locus of control, you let whatever door is to be opened for you open, and you go with life and you flow. It's far more external, but you'll probably suffer less from those mental ailments like burnout or high chronic stress, whatever it is. It's a balance, because to get stuff done,
it is a balance,
and to actually make things happen for your life, you do need a bit of an internal. But as you just said, it's not one or the other.
That's where I think flexibility is important, and being dynamic with these things.
100%. Lunges.
Yeah, got to do your lunges,
100%.
your mental lunges. I think for me as a baseline, it's good to try and sort of take control of what's happening in my life and sort of steer my own ship or drive my own bus or whatever it is. And that's a phrase.
Drive my own bus.
Yeah. People say that. Drive your own bus.
Really?
Yeah. Don't be a passenger.
I've heard of steer your own ship, but I'm not.
Don't be a passenger, aka don't let someone else control you. Drive your own bus.
Steer your own mini golf cart.
Exactly.
Ride your own hovercraft.
Yep. Ride your own horse.
Your own AC 130.
Yep.
Steer that.
Skirt me on the Heelys. Ride your own Heelys.
Ride your own Heelys. I like that.
That's a throwback to episode 1 or 2.
Ride your own Heelys.
But yeah, I think I strive for that. Yep. But also I'm flexible with sometimes, which is an area of development for me. Sometimes things aren't in my control. Sometimes, really basic example, but like timekeeping, for example. Sometimes you have to work with other people, and sometimes people aren't,
100%.
or the bus is late or whatever, and that truly is out of your control. And yes, sometimes on a macro scale, you might get up earlier, and that is something you can control. But sometimes things just happen that are out of your control. And no matter how much you sort of prepare and be a prepared and timely person and all those things, some things just aren't. And it's instead of when you have a really deep entrenched internal locus of control, you can get so agitated and so wound up when things don't go your way on a day where I've put everything in place and it's just not happened.
Why is it not working?
Is allowing yourself that flexibility to be like, okay, I can objectively see here, I've done all the things. I'm not just like floating through life, but it's not worked out today, and that's also okay. And having that agility is important.
An interesting observation I've just made, and I'm going to sound a bit like Mel Robbins here, but when other people or external things are involved in your life, having an internal locus of control about those external things, I think is where maybe the battles or the sort of mental, battles happen. So for instance, say I've planned something with someone else, they're late, or they don't like what we're doing, or whatever it is. This is an external force coming into it. If I'm trying to control that external force through my internal locus of control, I can see that's often where probably a lot of the stress, the anxiety, the impatience would crop up. Whereas, as we've said, having an internal locus of control is not a bad thing, but you can focus on what you can control, which is your reaction to certain things, is how you perceive certain things. Say we were going somewhere and you were 5 minutes late, which is always normal. Say you're 5 minutes late. I could, as you probably have before, gotten wound up and like, but we had to go to this thing, this person's late, and try and control the situation, which would bring a lot of just mental agitation. Thank you. Whereas you can only control your own reaction. Now, you have the control to go on time, to wake up earlier, to go on time, and that's the internal locus of control. Yeah. Whereas having the external locus of control, being like, well, some people just do that. Yeah. It goes back to the initial question you asked in the test is, I think where I was coming at it from was certain people won't like me and that's okay. Yeah. I don't want to have to try and control people. I can only control my own reaction, which I think is a nice balance between internal and external.
It is. And I know this isn't what you're saying, but leaning into maybe a discussion that's a bigger discussion.
Yes.
What you're kind of talking about is the Mel Robbins let them of it all.
It is.
And let someone do it. You can only control your reaction, which is very true. But I'm quite conscious of, and would love to speak to Mel Robbins about this, but one day,
Let's get on.
about the individualistic nature of it all, and being like,
Yeah,
well,
very insular.
yeah, I can just control me, and you can just let me down, and I'm just going to cut you out of my life because that's what I can control doing. And that's basically, in essence, what let them is saying. It's like, I can control my reaction, but I'll use that. What that theory says is I'll use that as data to not let you do that again. AKA, I might not make that plan with you again if you're going to keep being late and disrespecting my time. That's what I can control.
I
But
wouldn't
actually,
even quite so far as to agree with that.
no, for me, it's a balance of we are collectivists. I think we are a community, and we owe each other. We should work together, and we do owe each other people things, in my opinion. A lot of people say you don't owe anyone anything. I think we do, and I think we work together, and we respect and we love and we care for the people around us. So therefore, if someone is doing something that disrespects us, I think it is fair enough to say you've disrespected me and let me
It
down.
is. Does the let them theory say just not speak to them? In my mind, it's taking back control. You can't control what someone else does, but then you could be like, I'm going to take it into my control to communicate how that's affected me.
Yeah.
You can't control what that person's doing.
Yeah.
Maybe I haven't read into it enough to say this, but in my mind, using a part of the let them theory is saying, for instance, I can't control this person being late. What I can control is my reaction. I'm going to communicate how I feel with them being late, but I'm not going to let them being late ruin my day.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I think. But it is also okay. Again, I think it's very sort of clinical in a sense of
course.
just don't be annoyed and don't whatever.
Yeah.
But where we are community animals, it's like, as we always say, every emotion is valid to feel, and we shouldn't. If someone's upset us, we're okay to feel sad or angry at
100%.
them because they've not met the whatever they should be meeting in the expectations of our friendship.
100%.
And if they're late, that is continually, that is a bit disrespectful, and I can be annoyed by that. I completely agree. It's on me then how I
Choose to go forward.
the control. Yes, it's just, yeah, I think it's like the balance between, okay, I'm allowed to be, and I'm allowed to be upset, and I don't want to sort of, in so much trying to control my reaction, just invalidate or squash that upset as well, because that also has a place and is important.
100%.
But it's choosing, like you say, I guess, maybe choosing and controlling how you communicate that.
Because that is what you can control.
I am upset and frustrated, and in a controlled manner.
Here's why.
Yeah. What are you going to do about it?
What are you going to do about it?
What you going to do about
Well, then I
it?
think that brings us nicely on to how do we take this into our own power? What are some tools that we can use to look at our external or internal locus of control?
Yeah, so tools and tips for working on our locus of control or realigning our locus of control, right?
Yes.
Because and I know you are too, I don't want to say let's all have an internal locus of control, let's all have an external. It's somewhere in the middle, and that's what's important here, and that's actually one of our tools anyway.
It is.
So, Charlie, tools and tips for calibrating our locus of control. Take it away.
Number 1 is to control audit or circle of influence exercise. We will go into this.
I'm very excited about this one. Number 2, reframe your language.
Number 3 is to practice flexible control.
Number 4, Charlie's favourite, a micro wins journal.
Number 5 is to regulate before you react.
Number 6, sorry, I missed a finger there. Remember that this is a spectrum.
100%.
Yes.
Well, I think we start with the first one. A little exercise for everyone listening. If you're listening to this, we have another little exercise for you.
Homework for you.
Yeah, do it now or do it afterwards. We don't mind. So, the control audit or the circle of influence exercise. So, what we want you to do is draw 2 circles. If you're driving a car, maybe do this afterwards. But if you're by pen and paper, draw 2 circles. Okay. The inner circle is one of them. This is things that you can control. So your actions, your effort, and your mindset. The outer circle, which is the second circle, is things you can't. So, others' opinions, outcomes, the past, for instance. Write down things from your own experiences, your own journeys in both the inner and outer circles. Label them. Find labels, for instance. If there's an experience recently, write about different things in the inner and outer from this experience.
Yep.
We want you to focus 80% of your energy on the inner circle. Focus 80% there if you can.
Notice the majority, but not completely everything, because
Exactly.
we don't, yeah, it's important not to completely internalize everything and think that you should be controlling everything. But a lot of how we live our lives is only what we can control. And that's why it's the majority, but not everything.
100%.
A really interesting exercise.
Yeah. So try it for a specific thing that happened to you recently. If something that's, annoyed you, something that made you happy, whatever it is, just write down the situation.
Yeah.
And then, from that situation, write in the inner and the outer circle. But focus 80%.
Yeah, for sure. Number 2, reframe your language. Really important one. And I've been doing this personally a lot recently. And I think it's so, so important because our language is so important for shaping our brain and our mindset. And the words we speak are so powerful in just that, in having an effect on actually our internal dialogue. So instead of saying something like, I can't do this, even the simple switch to, I can't yet do this. I, for example, was talking to the Run Club earlier this week about surfing. And how I'm not yet able to surf. And I started with, I can't surf at all, I'm rubbish. And I literally in live said, actually, sorry guys, let me reframe that. I might have looked like an idiot, but I don't really care. I didn't look like an idiot, I was just changing my words. I was like, I can't yet surf. I will be able to surf. It's an area of development for me. And something else I say, this is more in a working setting because it is a bit of a corporate jargon. But instead of saying I'm bad at, I change it to an area of development for me, because I don't want to say I can't do something I'm bad at, because that again is deterministic, and saying it's not possible. An area of development implies and is telling my brain that actually I can develop in this and I can be better if I try and put in the effort. So flipping that language is so important.
100%. Number 3 is to practice flexible control. So not everything should be controlled. You should try to learn to distinguish between influence and acceptance. Again, sometimes surrender is control in disguise, as what we were saying is, again, not either internal or external. If you can, learn to surrender a little bit as well.
Exactly that. How we were speaking about the being late for the bus or whatever, or the bus being late. You could be someone who got up extra early, did all of the things, did your meal prep, and all of those things are you sort of controlling your punctuality and being on time, but the bus being late. In that moment is knowing that there should be flexibility there, and you cannot physically control everything. And surrendering there is actually bringing you more peace and, like you say, more solace and control in disguise, because you're then taking back control, because I'm not letting this external thing control my emotions and get me wound up, because unfortunately it's just not worked out. But this doesn't need to ruin my day.
It's a conversation for another day, but what you'll actually start to find is through surrendering, life will bring you a lot of amazing opportunities, but it's learning to surrender, and that's something that's very, very important.
Well, that's a little Easter egg there.
Yeah, it's a really interesting conversation that I want to have.
Hello.
One for another day.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Very cool. Number 4, a micro wins journal. Now, I feel a bit bad talking about this because this is definitely your area of passion.
Well, let me steal it off.
Okay, steal it off.
Here we go,
Yeah,
yoink.
yeah.
Each day, try and write one example of where you influenced an outcome. Over time, this would actually rewire perception towards internal control. So as you were saying, your brain listens to the language. Writing it down is just another form of that. Journaling can be so helpful, especially if you're not saying it aloud or speaking to people, if it's the first step. So remember an outcome where you had control to change it, and you did. Just write that down. Start once a day, then twice a day. This will, over time, convince you that you do have control of certain things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really important. Literally write down at the end of the day things I've controlled and things I've won today. It goes back into that positive self-talk of which we spoke about a couple of weeks ago. What have I won today? How have I shaped that win? So it's one step further. Not only how have I had a successful day, but actually what was my influence over that success and how I brought that success about. It's just really developing that positive self-talk further, that allows your brain and rewires your brain and your cognition to see yourself as in the driver's seat and having these successes.
It could even be so far as or so little as to say, I woke up early enough, I got dressed on time, so I made it into work on time.
Yeah.
Write it down and repetitively convince yourself that you do have control, because you are making these decisions.
Yeah, as always, this isn't something that's like these giant wins or getting a promotion every week or whatever. Like, the whole point of everything we do here in this podcast is the small wins in every day. So such a good point. Like, you being at work on time
That was your
is a win,
choice.
because many people aren't at work on time. So that is a win.
That was your choice
and
too.
that is a choice.
Yep.
Number 5 is regulating your emotions. So when you feel powerless, obviously, well, not obviously, but when you feel powerless, you want to react. You get annoyed, like we were saying, if someone's being late, you get emotional, all of those things. Those emotions are okay, but in the moment, let's try and, as we were saying, potentially give ourselves space to just regulate our emotions first, because when we react from a more sort of calm, regulated state, we can regain some of that control over ourselves. We all know when you see red, for example, as sort of an extreme example, you get angry, you say something, you do something, and later on, with a bit of reflection, you're like, God, I wish I'd just calmed down there. It's so much easier said than done. But when we're talking about control, when you are acting with emotion, control isn't something you have the leverage over.
Yeah.
So just in those moments where you feel powerless, what actually gives you more control is allowing your emotions, or allowing yourself to regulate your emotions. Give yourself a little pause, give yourself a little break, and then coming back into that situation is the best way to have some control in that situation, even if ultimately there is none.
100%. Lastly, is to remember that this is all a spectrum. Internal and external, you don't want to be on either side. You want to be floating somewhere. And it's fine if it's different for different things as well. If you have a far more internal locus of control for your work, but a far more external locus of control for your relationships, for instance, that's absolutely fine. Find where your happy point is for different things in your life. Always communicate with yourself and the people who you're involved with, how you're feeling about certain things, but just remember, and don't be too hard on yourself if different things have different levels of control. For instance, if you're in a certain situation, which you have ended up in because of your circumstances, that's also fine. But remember that if you want to change it, you can.
Yeah. God, I really love that.
Yes.
Really cool.
What a cool conversation.
Yeah, something I know we both have worked a lot on in our own lives, so it's really cool to
100%.
talk about these things.
It is. Yeah.
We are at our time, but could speak about this for hours, and I would love to.
100%.
But yeah, that we'll leave it for now.
Thank you very much for joining.
It boosted my mood.
It boosted my mood for sure.
Do you want to do the honors?
Yeah, boosted my mood.
Knee slapper.
Very nice. Well, that's boosted your mood. What else has boosted your mood this week, Marcus?
Weekly mood boost.
Welcome back.
My weekly mood boost is Emma Buckley, one of our Monday mood boosters.
Let's go, Emma.
Emma got a promotion at work this week.
Come on.
So big up, Emma. Congratulations. Proud of you, happy for you, and great win for you. Charlie, take it away.
My weekly mood boost, I say this with utter joy and also sadness. Our dear friend Marky Mark and the Happy Bunch, he has been offered a role in Hong Kong, which he will be departing for soon. His work, he's been looking and interviewing for a while now. And yeah, he's been offered this unbelievable opportunity in Hong Kong, which will be taking soon. He's training in New York for like months as well.
Hey, I'm walking here.
Cousin Nicky's walking here.
Yeah.
So Marky Mark's going to jet off to New York to train and then off to Hong Kong, which is
So proud of you.
unbelievable.
Congratulations.
Yeah, this is giving me our opportunity to get the Monday Mood Booster to Hong Kong. So if you're listening from Hong Kong, expect a run club there soon. Yeah, unbelievably sad. I'll miss him dearly, but
same.
very, very happy that the journey we call life is taking him on that path. So
Congratulations, Marky Mark.
congratulations, Marky Mark.
And the new job bunch.
Happy for you. And the new job bunch. The whole thing was so funny.
I know.
It's just stuck, hasn't
Great
it?
stuff.
Marky Mark and the...
We're doing that thing where it's a podcast and everyone's listening doesn't get the joke. But,
Oh, I'm so sorry.
well, people know Marky Mark and the something.
Yeah,
bunch,
so
whatever.
Mark
Bunch.
Wahlberg, he was in a band and he was called Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
There we go.
This was right after it or right before he committed that hate crime. I'm not quite sure. Regardless, our friend Mark at the Run Club, one day I just said Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch or something. I called him that. In Lake Garda, I think I said Marky Mark and the Lake Garda Bunch or something. And that stuck, so which was unreal. So now he's...
Now any situation he's in, it's the Marky Mark and the whatever
leaving
the
Run Club bunch or whatever it is.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Marky Mark. we'll miss you.
Anyway.
Oh, we're chatting, aren't we?
On that note, I hope you have a wonderful week ahead.
Yes. Thank you for joining.
Yes, it is November, so at the end of the episode, we'll just touch on it being
Of course. Bless you.
Men's Mental Health Awareness Month.
Men's mental health awareness.
This month and every month, Charlie and I are here on a mission to help any and everyone, ourselves, but everyone that listens and tunes in and wants to help themselves. mental health is always extremely important, not only when it's bad, but when it's good as well. We have to look after ourselves on a daily basis, and that's what we're here doing, trying to find joy in the everyday, but also giving space for all of the adverse emotions, the sadness, the fear, the fatigue, all of the things. So this month and every month, men, but also everyone else, we will always be advocates for raising awareness, leading by example. We hope to always. Please take care of yourselves. Please reach out to the people you need to reach out to,
100%.
and know that people always care, and you are always wanted, and you're always valid. It might not feel like it, but it's so extremely true. And please just take that leap if you need to. You will not regret it.
Fantastically said. Yeah. It is easy, I think, especially as a guy, knowing this and being a guy. You often hear people say, talk about your mental health, talk about it, please reach out. You hear these things, but you might not internalize it. Truly, even if you're going through these battles in your head, if you have these mental ruminations, guy or anyone else, but particularly if you're a guy hearing this and you've struggled to, or you haven't before because you fear it might make you look weak, start by writing it down and then speak to someone. Just mention it, what you're feeling, just mention it with no expected outcome. It helps so much, and that solace that you might be looking for is actually found through that journey. So as Marcus said, prioritize yourself for this month, look after your mental health. We're here, like everyone's there for you as well. Please reach out if you feel like you need to, and just look after your mental health first for this Men's Mental Health Awareness Month.
Take care.
Thank you for joining.
And always.
Of course, thank you for that.
All right.
Lovely episode.
Lovely job.
Well,
you know what to do.
Do you want to do that? And I'll do some ASMR.
Yeah, of course I can.
Give it some beautiful. Here you go.
Well, we're flipping the.
Throwing up.
Who's driving today?
I'm in the driver's seat.
Drive.
I'm in the driver's seat. I'm in the driver's seat. This is Charlie from the Mood Booster Podcast.